Y'all know that kind of thing? You know, like with my kids at home? I tell them to get something done, they say, I'll get it later. What they say is, I'll get it later. What I hear is, shh, you're bugging. I mean, we have this. We know this about it. I wonder if Jesus didn't hear something when they said, but all we have is this little bit. If Jesus could have heard something along the lines of, but Jesus, we don't believe in ourselves enough for that. We don't believe in ourselves enough for that. With what we have to offer, there's no way we can feed this many people. And I love that Jesus doesn't teach. He doesn't talk. He doesn't try to give a parable. He just says, bring what little you have. Bring it to me. Now the disciples do something amazing. They do something amazing. Nobody stands up and goes, oh, you've got to be kidding. What does he think he's going to do with this? They obey. He says, bring it to me. And they say, kind of like I do when I'm in trouble at home. They just went, oh, okay. They did what they were told. They brought it to Jesus. Notice what happens here. We have Eucharistic overtones happening. We have kind of a foreshadowing happening. Jesus takes the offering, gives it to God, and gives thanks, breaks it, and then what does he do? What does he do? He gives it to them, the disciples, to give to everybody else. Now, Jesus could have said, all right, step aside, boys. Let me show you how this thing's done. And he could have started pitching out food and serving everybody. And the disciples could have just sat back in amazement. But no, Jesus says, you brought the little you had to me. We give it to God. And I'm going to give it back to you in abundance. And 10,000 people plus ate their meal. And there were leftovers by the basket. The question that I like to play with this morning with us is, what does this mean for us? I mean, we can exegete the passage, we can talk about all the history, we can look at the culture, we can try to understand what Matthew was really saying, but when it comes down to where the rubber meets the road, folks, it is important to know, what do you want me to do with this? What are we to do with this text in our lives? I think it's important for us. Let me back up. I think it's more than important. I think it's imperative. I think it's a must that we acknowledge that Jesus believes in us. Jesus believes in you. If you take nothing else away from this morning, take this phrase. Jesus believes in insert name here. Jesus believes in Wayne. Jesus believes in Jared. Jesus believes in Ralph. Jesus believes in you. If that doesn't get your blood flowing a little bit, if you don't feel a little bit of excitement over that, we got work to do. Because that's power. Jesus believes in you. Even if you don't have enough belief for yourself at the moment. I have a professor at seminary that tells the story. One of her friends lost a relative who was very close. And the loss was devastating. It was a very intense, emotional time. And it was a time when this person just borderline on complete breakdown. They couldn't find the will to get out of bed anymore. They couldn't find the desire to live any longer. And my professor and another friend, the way she tells the story, they had to believe in her and have faith for her enough when she had no faith for herself. I'd never really thought about it that way, but their faith carried her through because they believed in her. They believed in her enough that she didn't have to believe in herself right now. We all go through times where we don't trust and don't believe in ourselves, where we feel unworthy or incapable. We feel like we don't have the words or the answers. But we can rest assured in knowing that Jesus believes in us, even when we can't believe in ourselves. Have you ever been in a situation where you looked at certain information, somebody asked you a question or they asked for your help and you couldn't do it? They asked you for an answer to a question and it wasn't there. We don't like to feel or look stupid. We don't like to feel like we don't have our finger on it. We don't like to feel out of control. Well, preacher, what does that have to do with the price of tea? When it comes to spreading the word, when it comes to being a disciple, when it comes to evangelism, when it comes to taking the word of God and the love of Christ into the world, we find ourselves feeling incapable. We don't feel like we have the answers. We don't feel like we have enough. We don't feel like we're prepared. We're not ready. We only have a couple of fish and a couple of loaves. Jesus, I can't do it. We live in a society where we like to get the answers. We like to have enough information to make an informed decision. We like to know as much as we can. We live in a postmodern era. I can, from my phone, find out anything at all. All I have to do is Google it. And within 30 seconds, I can answer any question. We want to know. That's fine. We can know all we want to know. But here's the thing. When it comes to our faith, I believe that many times when we say, well, let me learn a little more, let me understand a little better so that I can be more prepared, I just want to look at that person sometimes and go, food. That's a cop-out sometimes. We can use that because we don't believe in ourselves enough to get after it, to go out and try. Because it's scary. It's uncertain. We look at ourselves and we see ourselves as having very limited resources. And we don't see those resources as being enough. And that's understandable. The disciples felt the exact same way. But Lord, all we have is this little bit. Surely that's not enough. Jesus says, oh, now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's give that little bit to God and see what happens. So in your walk of faith, as you journey through, you may feel you only have a little bit. But I encourage you to give it to God. I encourage you to give it to God. Give thanks for the little you have, and then see what God can do with it. Now notice these disciples were not all-you-can-eat buffet kind of mentality people. They could have been gluttons. Jesus could have been popping the bread off and the fish off and making multiplying however it was happening, and they could have been sitting over there trying to get their food first. And they're like, well, we'll feed them as soon as we filled our bellies. No, they were given the food and they immediately went to serve others. You think they might have been hungry too? You think they might have been hungry? It was late in the day for them as well. It was supper time. But they served others first. It seems like they at least had enough faith in Jesus to know they would be fed also. Even if they waited. Even if they didn't eat first. But it also shows us that what God gives us, we're to give away. Because if they had sat there and tried to fill their bellies first, do you think Jesus would have kept it just multiplying? I think he might have said something along the lines of, do I need to quit? Because if all we're going to do is keep it for ourselves, Jesus has no reason to multiply it any further. Because it's not changing the world. It's just making us fat and lazy. I speak from experience. I have kept so much for myself is not mine for keeping. God gives it to us to give to others. As you go from this place today, I'm going to encourage you. No, wrong way. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to implore you. And for those that appreciate a good old-fashioned way of doing it, I'm going to double dog dare you. I want you to allow Jesus' faith in you to empower you. I want you to allow Jesus' faith in you to give you the strength and courage to go out into that world and to tell the Christian story. Whether it be in words, whether it be in how you live, but I want you to tell the story. Jesus gave us a command. Go and make disciples. No ifs, ands, buts about it. We are to do this thing. But Jesus, I'm not prepared to make disciples. That's the preacher's job. That's the lay leader's job. I'm just a church person. I mean, I can sing and pray a little, but I don't know about excuses. Jesus says, come on, boys. Come on, girls. Put the excuses aside. Just bring it to me. Bring me what you got. Let's bless it. Let's bless it. And then let's return it in abundance to the world. This is our mission. This is our charge. It doesn't matter if the seats get full. It doesn't matter if the coffers get full. That's not what it's about. I believe this, folks. If we do the Christian life right, all the details are handled. Because we have faith in an awesome God. But an awesome God has faith in us. Our job is to spread the love of Christ. The good news of the gospel message. We are to live it every day, every minute, everything that we do, so that we make a positive impact on the world and we nourish the multitudes. Are you ready to throw it in? Are you ready to go out and trust that Jesus believes in you? Are you ready to change the world? See, this story tells us something also that's very amazing. It doesn't matter about the details. Jesus can use anything. If Jesus can use a couple of pieces of bread and a couple of pieces of fish, Jesus can use the oldest, the youngest, the smartest, the slowest, the biggest, the littlest, the tallest, the shortest. Jesus can use us regardless of the circumstances. Because Jesus believes in you. Are you ready to take that out for a walk? Are you ready to give it a try? We can claim, I believe, all day long. I can claim, I trust all day long. I could put 6 people standing right here with their arms like this, and I can turn around. And I can say, I trust they're going to catch me. I trust them. They're back there. I know they're going to catch me. Yeah, they're going to do it. But unless I actually let go, I don't trust them. We can say that we know Jesus believes in us, but until we put it out there and take that step. Are you ready to take a step? Are you ready to take a step that says, Jesus, I know you believe in me. I know you believe in me, and because you believe in me, I can, as the Bible says, do all things through you. For you strengthen all that I have. Take the little that I have. I bring it to you. Take the little that I have. Thank you for that. Multiply it for me, Lord, so that I can feed the masses. We're in this together. Not just with each other, but we're in this together with Jesus. And brothers and sisters, Jesus believes in you. Live into that belief and change the world.